With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware. And that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Deep in the heart of mid-eastern PA, amidst the ski resorts, state game lands, and water parks named after deserts, sits Pocono Raceway, the love child of Trenton, Indianapolis, and Milwaukee. Pocono presents possibly the most unique challenge in all of oval racing. Some say it looks like a hash brown. NASCAR Chasm on Twitter today said it looked like a ham and cheese sandwich, but we say it looks like the perfect venue for more PRL trucking action tonight. Welcome to round 5 of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, live from the virtual Pocono Raceway. Hi everybody, Joey Tevin here, Terry Radford alongside me in the booth, and Connery Maddock behind the scenes. Terry, it's the tricky triangle, so tell us the terrifically tricky secrets of this track tonight.
Go fast, turn, maybe shift, turn some more, shift another time, save gas, stay out of the wreck. That's the only way to get around this candy corn shape. Since we're going with food here, my favorite Halloween candy, the candy corn. That's where we're at tonight. We're at the Pocono Candy Corn 150. I'm just kidding. I don't know what 45 laps are equals to. I don't do math. It's not my thing. Yeah, I don't know. But we'll figure it out.
45 times 2.5, something around 100 plus, I don't know. But here's the calendar here for the NASCAR Truck Series. I'm just going to ignore the candy corn reference. I could cancel the broadcast right now for that. But anyway, next week, Lucas Oil Raceway. We leave the very, very long track of Pocono Raceway for the shorter track of Lucas Oil Raceway. Then we're back to a big track, 2 miles at Michigan, shorter track at Richmond, bigger track at Kentucky, and then the biggest track of all, Daytona International Speedway, will be the second half of the season here as we round out the first half tonight. And then the standings here, the driver's standings. Abner Acosta has found his way into the championship lead by one singular point over Bradley Holly. Abner's won 2 races in a row, one at Mid-Ohio, one at New Hampshire last week rather. And Bradley Holly, very strangely, he's had a winless season so far. Then Thomas Sink and Sean Powell and Danny Cervantes very, very close in tow there, rounding out the top 5. And then it's a pretty close fight for 6th as well between Zemke, Lane, Hunter, and Harvey. And then Mike Witt is around in the last spot in the top 10 on 118 points. Let's take a look at the team standings as well. This should serve as no surprise either. It is the Whataback Back Row squad on top over the Whataback Overdrive squad between 322 and 319. It's an inter-Whataback battle. And then Phase 2 Chassis Works, they've had speed, but they just haven't been able to put together the results since that first win at Nashville. SGE Esports, Car Ramrod are the top 5. Precision Racing Esports, I don't believe they're represented tonight. I don't see Diaz or Caraballo. And then the third Whataback squad, Riding Shotgun Motorsports, and the 2 Team DDI squads round out the top 10. So before we go any further, before we get into qualifying, we must also thank people who make all of this PRL action possible. Of course, first of all, the VCO, the virtual competition organization, helping us out here at RaceSpotTV and helping to make every single Precision Racing League broadcast possible this season. We're also brought to you by the folks at the start of the broadcast, Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 discount code. If you forget that, it'll probably be in the top of your screen, top right, so look up there if you want that coupon code. We're also brought to you by RaceLab Apps. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. We're also brought to you by the Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products provide an incredible immersion and realism to every game, feel every nuance, and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with the Butt Kicker. And last but not least, Ninja Trader. Ready to compete against the financial markets, supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, Ninja Trader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. Ninja Trader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Thanks, as always, to all of our sponsors here for the Precision Racing League, and we are ready to go in qualifying here. The clock's already ticking down. Only 3 minutes and 48 seconds to go, and with an almost minute-long lap here in these NASCAR trucks, our drivers don't have much time to put down these times.
Now you really got to get going. The moment the green flag drops for qualifying, you have to be on this racetrack, because if you wait too long, you're not going to get around to the start-finish line to start your lap, and iRacing doesn't care. You don't get that lapse if you're in the tunnel turn over there and you think you're about to exit and you have enough time to run back around. That's a lot of track, and that's directly mid part of the racetrack in the middle of this. But you see Bradley Holly here loose. That's the story so far. Has not put down a lap. Has only put down 3/10 of a lap there. And now Thomas Zink comes around. And Bradley Holly and Sean Powell, I think they just went out and maybe put a little heat in their tires. I don't know, they might not qualify. And then Danny Cervantes is out as well. Ryan Tavern currently, or was the top, and now it's Sam Pennington who jumped up to the top here. So only 2 so far, and now it's doubled. It has went to 4. I at least got that math right.
Times are starting to flow in here. Eric Papineau, he was quick in practice, puts it on pole, and instantly he's jumped by the pair of Car Ramrod drivers, Sumner and Hilton, in the orange and grape Tropicana truck. Zach Panzarella up into the first row now. Times are starting to flow in. Now Evans goes onto the front row, but it's still Charles Sumner holding on. Now Colton Lane, Jim Westerfield. The Christmas tree is lighting up, but it's Charles Sumner on top for the moment.
Well, an interesting part from the chat, our race control says car 109 will not qualify due to penalties accrued from the previous truck race. So last week, the 109 got penalized. That's Nicholas Hunter, not going to qualify. We'll start tail end of the field, and you see Eric Papineau coming around here to complete the second lap. We'll see if it's faster. It will be by a smidge. Will he jump on the top, jump near the top of the board? No, he'll sit down there in eighth place. I'm kind of surprised, honestly. I think if I'm looking at this right, is that some of these drivers' second lap is not going to be the strong one. You really have to be money on the first one, as after Acosta jumps up there with a 55.22, and now here's Bradley Holly going out to attempt his lap. He's at 40 seconds now. There's a little bit of delay to us, to you, to us and you and all that. He'll round, I almost said 4, Joey. Coming out of 3.
What turn 4?
Yeah, he's looking down like, oh, that's crap. So he must not be happy with it. And I don't know why he's not happy with that. That's P3. That's 10 times faster than I am here at Pocono.
Well, it's Bradley Holly, the all-time pole record setter in the Precision Racing League, so it's understandable to be disappointed with third place, but he will start third place. Doyle Lawrence crosses the line, 55.4. That's a solid lap for Doyle, puts him in P6, and just an update on some of those drivers who got penalties. You mentioned Nicholas Hunter. James Dewar will also not be allowed to qualify, nor will Richard Regan Jr. for the penalty he received at Mid-Ohio, and Moises Caraballo also awaiting to serve a penalty, but he is not here tonight, so that will roll over to the next week. He is here in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. Danny Cervantes crosses the line, puts it P8, and it looks like Christian Swenson. I don't think Christian's going to have enough time to make it to the line here. We'll see. It's a race against the clock through turn 3. Christian Swenson, no qualifying lap time down. It's going to be super tight to see if he can get to the checkered flag here. The driver of the number 11. It's tracking like a decent lap, but can he make it to the line? He does, just barely. It's not a very good lap, but it is a lap, and Christian Swenson will be starting somewhere on this grid, a little bit further down the field than he would normally like. Looks like it'll be 19th for Christian Swenson, but on top, Abner Acosta has just been on a roll these past couple weeks, and it is yet another pole position for Abner. He'll be starting alongside Daniel Knight once everybody gets gridded up here. And Bradley Holly, you saw him immensely disappointed. He'll be starting in third, which is better than a lot of drivers could hope for, but he's a championship contender. He doesn't want to start behind Abner here. Thomas Sink is fourth, and Jeff Evans and Doyle Lawrence are the third row, fifth and sixth. Charles Sumner, great run for the number 98. He's alongside Danny Cervantes, and then Colton Lane and Jim Westerfield, another pair of one-back drivers on row 5. Zach Panzarella and Austin Hunter are 11th and 12th. And in lucky number 13th, it's Barron Hilton alongside Mark Kalin. Eric Papineau and fan favorite Robert Happy Gilmore is 16th. Chris Harvey and Jeff Hollingsworth are 17th and 18th. We keep on going. In P19, forgive me, Christian Swenson was the last car to set a lap. Just barely beat the clock there. He'll start alongside Garrett Austin. Then CM Pennington and Adam Zemke in the third. The car Ramrod Tropicana Machines is 22nd. Mike Witt and Jose Medina, 23rd and 24th. 24th for the 24. That's pretty cool. Dalton Geyer and Mike Richter, 25th and 26th. Then Ryan Travers, Stacey Hunter, and Kevin McGarvey are your final qualifiers. Sean Powell, that's a surprise to see him fail to get a lap in. He'll start 30th. Richard Regan and Nicholas Hunter and James Dewar all not allowed to qualify this week. And Dylan Schmidt elected not to qualify as well. So it's a 34 truck field for tonight. 17 rows of truck, Terry. 25 miles, 2.5 miles. And we're going green here in about 2 minutes. It's a pretty long pace lap, but we roll.
Yeah, and what I want to look at is I looked at the info on the track. It's 122 degree track temp right now. Like, something's melting in Pocono at the moment. It's not normally what the track tip is. 82 degrees outside, 48% humidity level. And no, that doesn't mean a whole lot, but for car heads, that's fuel mileage. And I'll talk about that here in just a little bit. With the winds 2 miles per hour, looks like it's coming from the north. So a headwind going out of turn 3 and a wind going against you coming down the back straightaway is going to be just a little bit more RPMs turned when you're trying to maybe save a little bit. But there's going to be a whole lot of shifting for people who do want to save fuel in the tunnel turn. You can shift to third, you can coast it down, you can shift in third in turn 1, however you want to do it. There's going to be a lot of clutching. We're going to see people that we necessarily didn't think was going to be up front in a race like this. I mean, hey, Chris Buescher won a race here at Pocono at one point in time due to fog. It doesn't mean one of these drivers can't come in here and upset one of these fan favorites or championship favorites here in a fuel mileage race.
Abner Acosta, though, is that championship favorite. He's won the last 2 races. He's been on a roll, but you cannot discount Bradley Holly, the winningest driver in not only PRL Truck Series history, but in PRL as a whole history. He'll be starting behind Abner, and I have a feeling we're in for the duel of the season here, if not the century. Daniel Knight starting alongside Abner Acosta. The iRacing sedan pace car pulls off the ever-wide Pocono Raceway front straight. The green flag is out, and Abner Acosta gets on the gas, and we are green for 45 laps at Pocono. neat and tidy through turn 1. Looks like 1 and 2 wide all the way through the field. Abner Acosta leads Daniel Knight into turn 2. Holly is still third. Danny Cervantes catching up to the back of the train. Thomas Sink is fourth, and Jeff Evans is fifth. We navigate through turn 3. It's a clean first lap, Terry, but we're starting to see a little bit of fanning out. Look at Charles Sumner there, wide on the exit of turn 3, but Acosta's going to lead lap 1.
Well, and this is the part of the product you're going to see. You're going to see IndyCar style racing in the NASCAR truck series, where they're going to fan all the way down to the bottom. That's the defensive line here at Pocono, and then you're going to work your way back up the racetrack to set yourself up for turn 1, which is, I would say, one of the most intriguing corners in NASCAR. I personally cannot stand this racetrack because I suck here. But you see these drivers, they're able to work the lanes, and you don't want to scrub speed off, because the moment you go down and you're fishing the car around and you're doing all of this, you're scrubbing speed off the tires. And then you come to the tunnel turn, right? You're going to come here and you can set up a pass. You saw what Bradley Holly tried to do to Daniel Knight. He went to work the bottom, and it didn't work because he tried to get on the gas really, really fast. But different lanes are going to work. You see Knight's going to go to the middle groove, and Holly's going to work the bottom and try to paint that yellow line. And it's all fishing to keep the most speed coming out of these corners. Well, now they're going all into the pit walls, so they're going anywhere they want. They can find asphalt, they're finding racing down there.
Swerving and moving, it's like I-95 down the front straight. Now we arrive in that tricky turn 1, modeled after Trenton Speedway. Fittingly, it is an art to nail turn 1, and Trenton Speedway has since been demolished and turned into a sculpture garden, so it is immortalized here at Pocono Raceway. And turn 2 here, modeled after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The tunnel turn, Holly's all over the back of Knight. Seems just a little bit quicker, but he's having trouble getting by him.
Well, in that time, you saw the piece of the wall hanging out there when you come off the tunnel turn. That's one spot that you're always going to have to keep an eye on, because you see this 2x2 battle. If you go into the tunnel turn side by side, that guy on the outside is at a huge disadvantage because they have to lift. Some of these walls come out and bite you. You see divots in them. The wall coming out of the tunnel turn isn't a divot. It's a big bubble. And that bubble doesn't play. It's like the dirty bubble on SpongeBob, where Evil Man Ray is out there teaming up with him. That's this whole track. It's Evil Man Ray and the dirty bubbles off the exit of the tunnel turn.
I think that's the first dirty bubble reference in iRacing history.
We need a hashtag iRacing meets the dirty bubble.
Hashtag iRacing meets the dirty bubble. I fully support that. On lap 4, Doyle Lawrence approaching the dirty bubble on the outside. I can't believe we're going to call that for the entire broadcast. I think we are. Doyle Lawrence and Jim Westerfield here. The 35 versus the 9, Colton Lane, trying to pick up a piece here. This is all fighting for the final couple spots in the top 10. Remember, Doyle Lawrence qualified P6, but he is falling down just a little bit. Looks like the 9 truck is struggling, but now he is able to pull to the inside of Jim Westerfield, get all the way down to the bottom of the track, and now Colton Lane is on the attack on Jim. Lane going for P8. He's clear of him into the corner, but Westerfield's going to fight back on the inside.
Yeah, and so here's the thing with a lot of this. You see what Colton Lane's doing. He's working the very outer groove, and that's a good way to keep the speed up, because you know that when you come off the exit of the corner, look at the momentum he has right there in the back bumper of that 55 machine of Westerfield. He's able to stay tucked up on the back bumper of that truck, but you have to also be careful, right? Because you have to back the corner up too. There's so many different factors that play into winning here at Pocono. One, you have to have speed. The moment you fall off to, I would say, 10 seconds or more, you're not going to come down and pit with the rest of the leaders. You're going to try to play a different strategy. You're going to want to stay out, maybe save some fuel, maybe take the long approach. But then you also have to have some common sense, because you have to think, okay, race this thing backwards. We go lap 45, maybe we can get 23, 24 laps on fuel. Well, you have to save some. So you have to be able to know where to clutch it, where to let off the gas. You don't want to use a ton of brake here, because if you do, that's more RPMs you're going to turn, which means more fuel that you're going to burn. And the third thing you have to do is stay patient. It is 45 laps around a 2.5-mile track. You have so much time to work here. This is legit like driving the Charlotte Road.
Contact between Hilton and Panzarella. Is Hilton going to save it? No, he isn't. Caution is out on lap number 6 here. It was a remarkably clean start to this race. We made it into the double digits of miles, and unfortunately, Baron Hilton just made a tiny bit of contact with Zach Panzarella through turn 2. I think the dirty bubble might have just struck for the first time.
The dirty bubble. He's there, I'm telling you. It's no blame. See? Oh, he doesn't want to hit the wall. The wall is there, and they have to lift for it. And Baron Hilton, he was just an innocent bystander there. No damage, though. But hey, fuel mileage race right here. Who's going to pit? That's a lot of that was the dirty bubble. That was the dirty bubble net code. Got him. But fuel mileage. Who's going to pit? I would say anybody from 15th on back. Come down pit road. Take fuel. Try the long strategy. And don't take tires. There's no sense in it. Just come take some fuel. Top her off and see where it takes you. You might end up coming out and winning the race.
Race has been neutralized here. We crawl through turn number 2. It's a very, very long pace lap here at Pocono, Terry. I hope we don't have many cautions because we're going to be sitting here filling for quite a while, but we're going to round turn 3 here. You think everybody past maybe 15th place is going to come down here on pit road? Maybe the whole field comes down pit road here. I wouldn't blame Abner Acosta for guiding everyone down. We have run a solid bit of distance. It's only 6 laps, but at a long track like Pocono, that's a good amount of miles.
It is. But this is going to be an intriguing spot to have a caution. I think he's going to fake here. He faked.
He did.
Yeah. I think he was the one that's going to fake. But oh man. I thought 15th on back comes down. Try 6th on back. 6th on back comes down pit lane. And I'm not saying this flips the race upside down because, I'm not necessarily a mind reader. Jose Medina did stay out, though. So 7th on back came down pit lane. What are these drivers? What could they accomplish, Joey, here? You're not going to make it the rest of the race unless we get a couple strings of cautions. But this also just set the top 6 on an island of their own. And that's the one part that makes Pocono great for people like me that love NASCAR, that love strategy racing. Because now, if we get a caution in 15 laps, that whole field stays on the racetrack and you send Abner Acosta, Doyle Lawrence, Daniel Knight, Papineau, Harvey, Medina back of the line, and you have to work through what then would be almost a 4-second gap to the race leader by the time you enter turn 1.
We'll have to wait and see. I think that would be quite an entertaining sight, seeing Abner Acosta work his way through the field. But we might see that right now. We have those 6 trucks who stayed out. Bradley Holly is the lead truck now on fresh tires. Thomas Sink, Jeff Evans, literally everybody behind is on new tires. And then Medina, Harvey, Papineau, Lawrence, Knight, and Acosta stayed out. So on the restart here, we've only run 6 laps, but Holly is going to have 6-lap fresher tires. You think he's going to be able to make these moves, all 6 of them? Or is it going to be a little bit tougher with, especially how good Abner Acosta is at saving tires?
Well, he took tires. I mean, by the time we get back going racing, it'll be, lap 10. I wouldn't, I wouldn't think that he's going to burn them up. I would imagine that if I was Holly or Sink or Evans or even Cervantes, don't worry about it. Track Temp's coming down. Our beautiful producer made sure to remind us that the track Temp's coming down. You can see it's kind of shaded there. And for Richard Pruitt, got a Wit fan out there for the old Mountain Dew Chevrolet. So thanks for watching, Richard Pruitt.
Update for Richard Pruitt. Mike Witt did come down pit road under that last caution. He is P18 right now. So Mike Witt working on the alternate strategy, or
there he is.
The preferred strategy. I don't know which is the alternate, which is the preferred, but we're going to find out soon here. The lights on the iRacing sedan pace car are out, so after crawling around for quite a few miles, we will finally go green here in a matter of moments. 3 rows of trucks with older tires, and then every single other row. We had 17 rows, so that's 11 rows of trucks behind. Fresh tires, fresh load of fuel, and a few drivers around the back. Stacy Hunter and Sean Powell, Robert Gilmore, I think, came in, fixed some damage, but we'll be going green here in a matter of moments through turn 2, and Abner Acosta's hoping and praying that that armada of 5 trucks behind him can hold back the freshly tire-shod runners like Bradley Holly and the entire field behind.
I mean, I would think that well, I would say the funniest and most entertaining thing that could happen here, we didn't factor in wheel spin, Joey. This track's hot. These tires, while they have only been ran for 7 green flag laps, that's still 7 green flag laps around 2.5 miles. You could see a wheel spin, and that ain't gonna stop anybody on row 6 from hitting them.
Here we go, Acosta and Knight, front row, just like at the initial start. It's a great start by Acosta, not so much by Doyle Lawrence. He's getting pushed by Chris Harvey here. Look at the blue truck of Bradley Holly, 3 rows, 4 rows back. The bright pink truck is Jeff Evans. They're on fresh tires, and they're going to try and pounce early here. Look at Kalen and Sink on the outside, but we've got a spin. We've got a spin in the background, and that's Austin Hunter around. Oh, and he collects. I think he collected Nicholas Hunter. The 2 Hunters come together. Austin Hunter and Nicholas Hunter. Sean Powell spins as well. Let's take a look at what happened here on the restart. That's Zach Panzarella in the pink truck, I believe, who is going to be turned around here. Was it by Richard Regan Jr.? Was it by Mark Kalen? Let's see. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was not Zach Panzarella. Zach Panzarella was fine here. There it is. Austin Hunter, nowhere to go. Big trouble here.
Yeah, but who was the driver that went around there? It
was Garrett Austin.
Garrett Austin goes around. I think the dirty bubble striked again with a little bit of the code.
Oh, Garrett Austin was before. Garrett Austin was beforehand. He was in the wall before the scene of the accident, and I believe, who was that in the wall? Was that Stacy Hunter? Was that James Dewar? I cannot tell immediately. There's so many cars with similarly colored liveries. I think that was James Dewar, but we'll have to try and identify that. I cannot look back at the incident on my own screen, but it's calamity up there at the top of the track.
Purple truck catches the wall. That truck right here. He catches the Jose Medina.
It was Jose Medina. Wow.
So Medina here. He was next to Colton Lane. I saw that livery. So he gets washed up. Okay, so that's the bubble. That's the bubble again, doing bubble things.
And Jose Medina was one of those drivers on fresh tires, so Medina's strategy already down the sink here. Disappointing for him, I'm sure. Apologies for failing to identify him for so long. That's the difficulty here of broadcasting one of these races. But Jose Medina, his race falls apart early. Sean Powell, I don't believe he got any damage. Garrett Austin definitely did. And, of course, Austin and Nicholas Hunter, the 2 Hunters, down pit road with heavy, heavy damage for the moment. But now we re-rack everybody again. We pack up once more. And it's going to look basically the same as the last restart. There's still 5 trucks on those older tires that stayed out. Bradley Holly's up to 6th now, thanks to Jose Medina getting taken out there. But we're going to have another restart here, and the guys up front, track position's looking pretty good if we have a few more cautions.
Well, and I mean, they only got to 6, so you see Ryan Traver coming down, got in that incident there, and that incident just happens. You know, it's a restart at Pocono. You're going to fan out. You're going to charge into these corners. And we talked about going under caution for a while. Yeah, fans, like you're watching this, and you're like, oh well, you know, how long is the pace lap around here? It's a couple minutes. It's 75 miles an hour around a track that we normally see these cars. Their last lap by when they caught the caution, Joey, was 105.629. And we'll see when they come across the line here what a full pace lap is here. At the most perfect time. They run a 55-second lap around here. And we're doubling that almost at this speed. So, calling a minute a lap.
I'm driving up I-78 coming up to Pocono. I don't know. Is my average speed 100 miles per hour, or is my average speed 75 miles per hour? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, my drive to work is about averaging 80, so maybe. But yeah, there's Mark Kalen. I'm telling you, I'm gonna I'm going to come in here at some point in time and do a broadcast, and I want him to stay on the screen the whole time, and I'm just going to eat a box of Cheez-Its. Like an entire box of Cheez-Its. That's all I'm doing, is just eating Cheez-Its. And I'll let the fans pick the flavor. I'm a big Parmesan guy, but I'll take that. But by the way, it was a 2-minute lap around here under full caution. So 5.5 minutes of caution every time.
We'll have to think of a lot more filler. Maybe we'll talk about Cheez-Its again. If there's another caution, I could definitely kill 5 minutes talking about flavors of Cheez-Its. They used to have a cheeseburger flavor that kind of tasted like pickles and mustard, which sounds disgusting, but it was very, very good. So if there's any cheeseburger Cheez-It fans out there in the audience, you got representation up here in the booth.
Well, I tell you what, I'm actually going to Google that for the next one. If there is another caution, all the flavors of Cheez-Its.
There's a smoky provolone one that they don't make anymore. They killed off all the best flavors of Cheez-Its, which is very disappointing. I don't know.
I'm gonna test your Cheez-Its knowledge on the next one of how many flavors of Cheez-Its exist in the world. Because on their website it's called a flavored history, and it's an entire history of Cheez-Its. They've been around since 1921.
That is older than Pocono Raceway. Pocono Raceway broke ground in 1969, so you learn something new on every single Precision Racing League broadcast. Today you've learned that Cheez-Its are older than Pocono Raceway, but we are ready to go green here once more. The iRacing sedan pace car will pull off. It's going to look a lot like the last restart. 5 drivers here on older tires, only 6 or 7 lap older tires, but we are ready to go green again. Abner Acosta, Daniel Knight on the front row, then Lawrence, Papineau, and Harvey on those older tires. Bradley Holly getting ready to pounce. Richard Regan Jr. down to the bottom of the track earlier in that bright yellow truck with the Liqui Moly in the background. But we are green here at Pocono for our second restart. Look at Regan already fanning out down there to the bottom. But he is going to have to get back in line here between Panzarella and I believe the number 60 of Colton Lane there. But look at the lead Acosta's pulled already.
Yeah, he has pulled. You see the 3-wide battle behind him. They're trying to fan it 4-wide, which is doable here. You could go theoretically 6-7 wide if you wanted to. Somebody's going to be touching a wall somewhere as they come through the tunnel turn. This is not the place that you want to make the mistake either, because this corner could make or break you. There was a car in the wall going into the tunnel turn. Keeps it safe, keeps it green, and it's 2x2 in front of Holly, who has now worked himself into 4th. As now he's going to try to get under Doyle Lawrence, as Lawrence still puts the fight on with the 17 tonight.
Doyle and Daniel fighting here for second place, but Bradley Holly trying to find a way past both of them. He pushes Daniel Knight down the front straight here, and now he's going to be able to peek to the inside, and that will be Bradley Holly up into second for the moment. But he's got 0.8 of a second now. He's got to make up to chase down Abner Acosta.
And to update the fans at home about who's on fresh tires, Bradley Holly's worked up to second. He's on fresh ones. Thomas Sink in 6th. Jim Westerfield having a marvelous run right now in the 7th place position. He's on fresh tires, and now Danny Cervantes has now worked his way up to 8th. That leaves him passing Chris Harvey. Fresh tires starting to play dividends here as Mike Witt fell back a little bit. He fell back to he's now in the 19th position. So a lot of these drivers with the fresh tires not making a whole lot of net gains here, as now it's 4-5 drivers with no tires in the top 10. So pretty impressive by the no tire strategy.
Well, the no tire strategy is kind of falling apart here for Eric Papineau. Look at this train of freshly tire shod runners here. Thomas Sink, next driver trying to get by. Westerfield's on fresh tires. Cervantes, Evans, Lane, Kalen, Swenson. Just about everybody behind Papineau is looking to make this move here. Sink almost gets to the quarter panel of Papineau, but he's not able to break to the inside. He takes a peek to the outside. Papineau's swerving just a little bit. Sink is going to get to the inside into turn 2 here. Side by side through the tunnel turn. Papineau has to lift, and Sink is through for 5th.
Yeah, and the tire advantage that you see, especially in the tunnel turn, is your mechanical grip. When you go to turn into that corner, it's not a very, it's not a very technical corner where you have to turn so much. You just really need to burp the throttle a little bit to get yourself in there, but you have to get the run off. You have to be able to hit the gas as hard as possible to work your way and to track that truck up to the wall to get that straight line speed going into 3. And if you lose speed there, you're setting yourself up for a huge passing zone going into 3. And then you have to regroup it in 3. It takes about a half a lap to get that speed back, especially in these trucks that take a long time to get up to the 170 plus mile per hour mark that we're seeing here right now.
An update on some of our drivers that have run into trouble. If you saw that bright blue truck hitting the wall in turn 2 a few laps ago on the restart, that was James Dewar. So a troubled day for him. Gets even more troubled. And Richard Regan Jr., who we saw pounce on that restart, he's actually had to bring it down pit road. He sat in his pit stall for 6.8 seconds. I initially thought he might have got a penalty for jumping the start, but no, he stopped in his box. So it was not a penalty, but for one reason or another, Richard Regan Jr. brings it down to the green. He's now 34 seconds off the lead down there in 30th. But here's Mark Kalin on fresh tires, trying to get through Chris Harvey now, approaching the last few spots in the top 10. Christian Swenson, remember, he only got 1 lap in qualifying, so there's a lot more potential in that 11 truck than qualifying showed. But here we go up front. Daniel Knight, Thomas Sink, Doyle Lawrence. All the strategies are mixing together here, and we're going to be side by side 2 rows deep into turn 2.
Yeah, and a big point, the sun's starting to beam again on these trucks. So the track temp, could potentially rise back up. We saw 120, it fell 2 degrees. But what's it going to do with the sun starting to come back out? There is no more cloud cover right now. You see the clouds at the top. They move in iRacing. So if you're new and you're watching this and you're like, oh, that's cool, the clouds do their thing. These clouds, it's dynamic weather, so you get what the sim date gives you. So 1 second we can have cloud cover, the next second it could be sunny. So you have to manage your truck, and your truck will drive different. You see Danny Cervantes here trying to capitalize with Jim Westerfield. They're all right here in a giant gaggle of what they can do. They've got the 9 of Doyle, they've got Evans, they've got Papineau, all working right here in this area to try to progressively get up here because the leaders are checking out.
And that bright magenta truck of Jeff Evans, it seems like every corner I see him peek into the inside trying to make a move. The number 51, extremely aggressive right now, but he cannot get to the back of Doyle Lawrence, or rather he does get to the back, but he can't get to the inside. As a little bit further ahead, side by side between Westerfield, Cervantes, Daniel Knight still trying to hang on. Here's Westerfield to the inside. 35-17. Jim Westerfield is going to be through on those fresher tires, and he is going to go up into 4th place. But in the background, I just saw Eric Papineau. He's brought it down pit road here on lap number 20. I think that's a legitimate stop.
Yeah. Yep, and now you have a battle for the lead. You have Bradley Holly going all over Abner Acosta here. He's to the low side. They're going to try to figure this out. Holly necessarily, I'm not going to say really hasn't put a whole lot on them. I mean, their last lap speed, Abner Acosta was only a 1/10 of a second there. But lap traffic, yeah, like our producer says in our ear, affected how Abner Acosta got around here. He got to the back bumper there. I believe that's wet, and he couldn't go. There was nowhere for him to move. Holly played it perfectly and put him there, but now the draft will play into Abner Acosta's favor as he's going to try to get a tow all the way off the 3 down the front straightaway and potentially set himself up for a run going into turn 1.
That was Garrett Austin, by the way, who he got by. So Garrett Austin now goes 2 laps down here. Been a troubled day for him. We saw him in the wall a few laps ago, and he's going to let the rest of that train by in the background on the top of your screen. Garrett Austin doing a very good job of getting out of the way. Unfortunately, it just did not work out with Abner Acosta there. Down the back straight, Acosta is closing. Danny Cervantes now getting by the lap car of Garrett Austin, and now he's trying to chase down Jim Westerfield. Here is Eric Papineau. He's that driver who brought it down pit road here, basically cutting this race in half because he didn't pit under that last caution. So how does Eric Papineau... Oh, that is not what Eric Papineau needed to do on those fresh tires, but that slide aside, how does this race work going forward for Eric Papineau? He's got 24 laps to go. I think everybody in the field is going to have to bring it down pit road one more time. But can Papineau make it to the end, and is this going to work out for him?
Pray for a caution. Or pray that everybody else has to stop. I mean, obviously we know Acosta, Knight, you go down to Swenson, Doyle Lawrence, those drivers who did not come on lap 7, they have to pit. They're coming down. And for a guy coming in, like we saw with Pocono. What can he do? I mean, yeah, he's probably not going to stop again. He just got past Dalton Geyer, but is this necessarily the idea? Split it virtually in half. I mean, lap 24 was when I would have thought. Lap 24 to lap 26 is when I would have thought we would have seen drivers come down and dead split this race. But Pocono just had one of the fastest laps of the entire race. So maybe, just maybe, somebody whispered in his ear, let's do this. Let's pull the trigger and go try to chase a win.
We'll have to wait for a few more laps until that marker. Eric Pocono, of course, the number 37 truck. Last lap time was very good. I'm just seeing now at the bottom of my screen, not a 1:28.9. That was his in lap, but it was a very quick lap time for Eric Pocono. Here we go, Jeff Evans. Daniel Knight's fall continues, unfortunately, on those older tires. Acosta's done well to hold on to second, but Knight has just been swallowed up. Sink, Westerfield, Cervantes, and now the magenta truck of Jeff Evans has gotten by. And it's not going to be much respite here for Daniel Knight. Colton Lane's coming, Mark Kalen's coming, and Christian Swenson up into the top 10 from 19th. It's been a great race for that number 11 as well.
Yeah, the 11 has done a great job. I mean, looking at some of these drivers that have worked their way through the field. Sean Powell, right now, the biggest mover of this race. He's currently up 17 in the 13th position here. And obviously, we talk about it here on RaceSpot with the biggest gainer. There's always the biggest loser. Austin Hunter, unfortunately, he's watching the race. Well, not unfortunately, it is, because he should be racing. He's minus 22. He's all the way back in 34th position. So I would say that strategy is going to shake this leaderboard up before we even can, really blink, because everything could change in the PRL, and we've seen that every single week as Jeff Hollingsworth, he's coming down, and so is Chris Harvey. But where were they in advantage of the leader? It was 20 seconds for Jeff Hollingsworth and almost 34 seconds for Chris Harvey. Not sure if that strategy play is really going to make a big difference there when it comes to what the leaders do.
Well, what's interesting between Hollingsworth, the two drivers just brought it down pit road there, Harvey and Hollingsworth. Harvey did not pit under the last caution. Hollingsworth did. So two drivers on two different strategies. They've now met in the middle, and they've both brought it down pit road on the same lap. So I don't know. Do Holly and Acosta come in at the same lap a little bit later? I have no idea how this is going to shake out. But after Acosta has reached just a little bit of lap traffic here, that is one of the drivers who brought it down pit road. That's Jeff Hollingsworth just ahead. But Hollingsworth is going to be on fresher tires, so he's going to start to pull away from Acosta here. So you've got side by side even more Cervantes and Westerfield now. Danny's through easy.
Well, and that also shows you with Harvey and Hollingsworth going a lap down for the time being, where you can and where you cannot pit from. Right now, if you go down to Dalton Geyer in 16th, he is 9.5 seconds away from the race leader. You cannot pit from there and make a gain. You will not do it. It's not going to happen. Granted, Jeff Hollingsworth is going to blow by Bradley Holly, but it's not going to work. If you're a guy right now like Swenson, who is 6 seconds back in 10th, take that dive, take that gamble. You're not going to lose a lap, and if a caution comes out, you flip track position. The same thing with Powell, Zemke, Doyle Lawrence, McGarver. Take that opportunity. Go try something different, because if you sit here all race long and follow along with what Abner Acosta and Bradley Holly are doing, you're going to stay behind them all race long. But if you catch a caution at the right time, which it could happen literally anywhere, it could happen there, man, that was tight.
That was very, very close there between Holly and the soon-to-be lapped car of Jeff Hollingsworth, who's actually making his way back onto the lead lap. Now Lane and Knight here. The fall of Knight continues. Colton Lane and Mark Kalen are the next two drivers who want to get by him here. And Acosta's down pit road from second place.
Okay, this is smart. He's jumping Holly. He knows that Holly has to pit, and he saw what. I guess these drivers are actually listening to me, or maybe somebody in the chat's feeding them some ideas here. For that driver to come down a lap, 2 laps, who knows? Who knows how many laps Bradley Holly is going to stay on this racetrack? This flips it. He was only a second back, Joey. This is going to jump him if Holly stays on this racetrack for more than 2 laps, and he's going to have an advantage. But how much? You saw him hold him off with 7-lap older tires than him, and I'm not too sure if Holly's coming down anytime soon. He's going to try to get the most of these tires.
Abner Acosta, of course, you saw it in New Hampshire last week. He is the best in the series at getting the most out of the tires. But here comes Holly down pit road, locks it up just a little bit, but he's not waiting, sinks down as well. Jeff Evans is going to stay out. That is not Thomas Sink, by the way. That is his teammate, Danny Cervantes. Sink stays out, takes the lead. But Holly, Cervantes, Westerfield, everybody's starting to come in now.
Yeah, and, you know, to see Holly come down there, he knew. He absolutely knew. But where's it going to put him in relation to what you're going to have out here with Acosta? Can he get it? And a lot of drivers came down. I mean, the fact that Cervantes, Westerfield, Witt, all of those drivers came down at the same time. You see now with Acosta in 26th, he's driving by. He did not lose a lap. So this is flip track position because he's going to jump them here.
Oh, it's going to be close here on pit exit. Holly does get out ahead of Acosta, and Acosta's not going to be able to get by. He's lodged behind Holly, but there he goes. He has the momentum on the exit of the corner, and he is going to be able to get by Bradley Holly. Not an ideal situation on the pit exit there, but very well done by Acosta to navigate through both Holly and Papineau. Eric Papineau, speaking of him, look at this. This has legitimately put Eric Papineau in 3rd place for the moment. Those tires are probably going to fall off because he pitted so much earlier than Acosta and Holly, but the undercut has worked, at least for the moment, for Papineau, and he's going to be in 3rd overall here.
And look at this track tip. The track tip has spiked. It has absolutely spiked. It went from 122 to 120 to 127. It's still partly cloudy. It's midday in Pocono. This is the sun time here, you know, for a lot of these places around the world. And the fact that at the moment he's sitting P3 on, you know, granted it is going to be older tires. He's going to slip around a little bit. Caution comes out when we recycle this and everybody gets in their, you know, theoretical position. This was genius.
Jeff Evans now down pit road. He went a few more laps around. We saw that did not work out for Thomas Sink. He came out of the pits almost 5 seconds behind Holly and Acosta. Now Evans comes down again. His last lap, Jeff Evans, 57.3. Holly's last lap, we will have to wait and see because his last lap was an out lap. But Acosta's last lap, 55.8. So these guys out in the lead, they're losing 2 seconds a lap to our race leaders. But this race lead is going to be fought very, very hard because Holly and Acosta right there with each other. Holly peeks to the inside. He's going to go for the move into 1. The outsides worked for Acosta in 1 before. Who's going to hang on here? Holly in the bright blue truck. Acosta in the yellow and black. Side by side down the back straight here.
I mean, you continuously see them battle, and granted, why this is not the battle for the race lead at the moment. This is the battle for the race lead. If no caution comes out, these are the guys. I mean, you see Colt Lane, Christian Swenson coming down from what was 4th and 5th. It's not going to be that anymore as they come down pit lane, but Holly's not giving this up. He knows he has to get around Abner Acosta if he wants to win this race. You can't sit here and just follow him around and push him and get him into a corner. He's not going to make that mistake. And in all honesty, being this deep in the season, without the all-time wins leader in PRL and the all-time poles center in this league, to not have a race win and lap traffic's going to stop Abner Acosta again. There goes Bradley Holly pulling the same move once more. But for him to not have a win, you think it's frustrating to him that he knows he's fast, but Abner Acosta's been here on a winning streak?
Well, I think Abner Acosta is going to be the more frustrated one of the two because that's the 2nd time he's been held up by Garrett Austin. And Acosta does navigate through him, but he's all the way to the back of Holly now, almost a full truck length between them. Here's Adam Zemke. Remember, he won a few weeks ago at Chicagoland. He's going to bring it down pit road now. It's only a few drivers, single digits, that are still out there on track. Sumner, Powell, McGarvey, Hilton, Traver, Dewar, and Gilmore have yet to bring it down pit road. They can't make it to the end. That's basically a guarantee, but they're trying to stretch this out as long as humanly possible and hope and pray that the dirty bubble pops and someone brings out a caution.
Stay out. Stay out. Stay on this racetrack as long as you possibly can. What do you theoretically have to lose if you're one of those drivers that are up there? Nothing. Like, this is getting good screen time for these drivers. It gives us an opportunity to talk about them, and that's kind of what I think makes Pocono so good. It makes it, granted, I don't like the track. I'm not a fan of Pocono, but when you think about it, drivers lead laps here. Drivers play different strategies. This is a game of just mental capacity and racing knowledge when you see things like this. I mean, if this race ended right now, I guarantee you nobody in our chat would have this top 10 picked correctly.
Robert Gilmore, speaking of our YouTube chat, he's going to get passed by the leaders here. This is not putting him a lap down. This is for position. Robert Gilmore still out there on those old tires. Holly gets through. Acosta gets through. It looks like Holly's starting to pull away just a little bit from Abner Acosta. There's only 1 lap difference on their tires. But for the moment, Abner doesn't seem to be able to stick with Brad here.
No, I mean, we saw that as well when he got around him. Dirty air here, it just isn't your friend. Granted, you get the draft, but sometimes too much speed is too much speed. And that's the biggest play here, is you get the run. You get such a run down these long straightaways. And then Ryan Travers in, by the way, from P5, that's going to give up an advantage. But you get all this speed going down the straights, and then boom, you go into one, and you're having to let off the gas more. You're having to brake a little bit. You're having to keep the truck stable underneath you. There's a ton that you have to do here that most places, you don't. You just go in the corner and go, I'm going to run it.
Last lap for our race leader, Charles Sumner, was a 58.1. Last lap for second place, Sean Powell, a 59.0. That is how slow these old tire runners are running right now. For comparison, Holly and Acosta, they're running the 55s, 56s, as James Dewar, he clapped the wall a little bit earlier. He's going to be passed by Bradley Holly here very easily. Acosta, not so easy though. He looks for the hole, and Dewar gives him plenty of room. Acosta and Holly now through on James Dewar. They're in the top 5. Holly is at least, but there's still 4 drivers who have yet to come in. Hilton and Sumner, the 2-car Ramrod drivers, and then Powell and Kevin McGarvey. They've all yet to bring it down pit road. We don't think they can make it to the end, but they're going to have to bring it down pit road here very soon. The fuel supplies in those trucks have to be getting very, very low at this time.
Somebody's out there praying for the dirty bubble to get popped. I'm one of them. I think this would make this super interesting to see the drivers up here in this top 4 or top 10 altogether that necessarily hasn't come down pit lane yet, to get an opportunity to go out here and do something different. It would be so cool to see Charles Sumner and Sean Powell and McGarvey and Hilton come down and say, I have bested you, because that everybody else is going to come down pit lane as well. Track temp as well starting to come down. I mean, it's 1 degree, but 126 is still scorching hot. Not too sure I want to walk barefoot around that.
And you want to know how many wins there are in the current top 4 in PRL Truck Series history? 1, and that was Sean Powell at the start of this season. Charles Sumner has won 3 races in the Cup Series, but he's never won a truck race. Kevin McGarvey is one of our new drivers. He's never won a truck race, and nor has Baron Hilton. He's won a couple Cup races, I believe, but no truck races either. So 1 win at the top, and then the 2 winningest drivers in the Truck Series. 80 wins in the Wednesday Night Truck Series between Holly and Acosta here. James Dewar trying to hang on. He's going for the move here on a lap truck. That's one of the Hunters. That's Nicholas Hunter. Got in trouble a little bit earlier. Dewar still has to pit as well. He might be in the top 10, but he's going to have to bring it down pit road here very soon. Let's see if he does this lap through turn 3. See if we can see that bright blue truck peel down pit road here. McGarvey's down pit road. Dewar not yet, but the fact that McGarvey's brought it down means I think we'll see Sumner, Powell, Hilton, and the rest of the gang in soon.
I would imagine that they're coming down rather quickly. I understand Charles Sumner. I get that. I understand Baron Hilton. Pitted on lap 7, lap 8. Hilton came down and topped back off, coming to 1 to go. and took a splash of fuel. Maybe that's the winning move. He's only right now 4 seconds ahead of Bradley Holly, but by the time Bradley Holly catches him, tires should be relatively equal. It's not going to be a massive difference. I mean, you can block for at least a lap or two here, and by the time he's not catching him that fast. Well, now he is, because Barron Hilton comes down pit lane. So lap 8 comes down. I'd imagine that Sean Powell and Charles Sumner cannot be far behind him, because I didn't expect Barron Hilton to come down unless he heard 1 lap of fuel to go.
Sean Powell has only done 25 laps on this stint, so if he can stretch this for 32 laps to the end, he can win this race. Unfortunately for him, Charles Sumner, currently on a 30-lap stint, it looks like 30-31 might be the limit. So Powell, he's going to have to do some fuel saving here if he wants to make it to the end. It's possible, but it's going to be super tough. Does Sumner come in this time? No, he's staying out, so don't count Sean Powell out for this win.
Let's go on board with Charles Sumner if we can. Let's listen to this throttle going into the tunnel turn. He's clutching it. Oh, there it is. That's what I was looking for. So the awesomeness part of clutches, and this is why I love NASCAR a whole lot, is because you'll see him, he goes into the tunnel turn. You see how slow? This is also why his laps are absolutely atrocious. Sorry, Charles Sumner, if you're watching, or you watch later. But he's going to start clutching here. Before he gets to the light, listen to how long he clutches here in the tunnel. He lets off right in the center. He's going to go back. But turn 3 is going to be hilarious because he's going to clutch very, very fast. Like right there. And he's going to clutch dang near all the way until he gets to here. And he has to go. He had a truck going below him. So then he obviously had to get back on the throttle. He's going to use the draft here to allow him to carry his momentum all down this straightaway going into turn 1, where he clutches it again right here. And then he's going to roll this corner as slow as possible. Look at the gap that he pulls just by a clutching truck.
The problem is, though, Sumner and Powell are going too slow here. Holly is catching them at a rate of over 2 seconds a lap, and he's only 6 seconds behind. So with 5 laps to go, if there's no caution, Holly will likely be able to blow by Sean Powell unless he defends within an inch of his life. I don't think Charles Sumner can go 37 laps. I think he's got to bring it down pit road, even with all the fuel saving he's doing. Sean Powell, he can make it to the end, we think, but can he defend from a Bradley Holly who's not saving fuel, who's on fresher tires? He's already within a second here.
Yeah, I'm not the greatest at math. It's never been my strong suit, and I've never been the guy that'll tell you that I'm solid with math. He's not pitting, okay? You would have pitted by now. You are not pitting, and if you're Charles Sumner in that 98, you dang sure ain't pitting. You got a 3.7 second gap. You save as much fuel as you can, and then you start putting those times down. You have to hope, obviously, Bradley Holly's going to get around here. That would be the pass for P2. Now, Abner Acosta's sitting there just a little bit further back. I'm not pitting. If you were able to get back on the throttle and start putting down, how much tires did he save while he was clutching? The answer is more than likely a ton. So if he's able to just save those 3 laps that he has, there it is. I mean, nobody's really going to pass them. I'm sure this might not be a ploy for the win, but a play for a top 3, a top 5, something other than just, riding around 15th all race.
Fight for the win is over for Sean Powell. He's going to have to settle for a lower spot in the top 10. If I had to predict, he'll probably finish around P8 or P9. But Charles Sumner continues to stay out here. Big swerve by Daniel Knight on the front straight for whatever reason there. Sumner's got 3 laps to go. Holly is going to catch him. But does a caution come out? Do we go to a green-white checkered finish? Who knows, but Holly is a very, very hungry tiger back there. The gap falls almost half a second through turn 1. Charles Sumner is going to lose this lead, but how high can he stick here? What position can he go for at the end of this race? Can he get a top 5? Can he stay in the top 10? Those answers will be questioned, and those questions will be answered in a matter of moments. It's now down below a second through turn 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Holly's already by him by the exit of turn 3 here. Yeah, Charles Sumner opens up the bottom. He's clutching. He's going slow. And Bradley Holly is going to take the lead here, likely before the end of this front straight.
Well, he hasn't poked his nose out yet. I would imagine that Sumner was on the throttle quite a bit there, but you'll see he's going to clutch it again here. He clutches it. There it is. And you see the gap that's going to go into the corner, and it's going to allow Acosta to get to the bottom and work his way underneath and clear for P2. Now, I mean, I would say, if I'm a betting man, we haven't seen, a whole lot of races not into the green-white checkered. We've got a lot, what seems to be, not a whole lot of miles to go. We have 5.5 miles left on this racetrack. Can we see a caution? We've pushed the boundaries here, and we're still side by side racing, and there's still people passing. I mean, Danny Cervantes and Thomas Sink just got around Powell. There's danger imminent when you get around to these closing laps. Who's going to be impatient?
James Dewar has gone a lap down after bringing it down pit road. He's the bright blue truck trying to get by Sean Powell in the background there. But the battle rages on here. Danny Cervantes and Thomas Sink. Sean Powell just trying to save fuel behind them, but that is a battle for position. That's a battle for the last spot in the top 4 between the two oppositely painted Whataback cars between Sink and Cervantes. But here's the battle for the lead. We're going to take the white flag this time, and it looks like Acosta is completely out of range of Bradley Holly. 0.6 of a second is the gap, and Acosta has just not seemed faster through any of these corners. Through turn 2, a little bit loose by Holly, but he is looking in control here. So we're going to navigate turn 3 here for the penultimate time. And Bradley Holly's going to take the white flag and hope and pray that he can finally take his first win of the season here.
Yeah, how weird that just sounded in my ear to say he's just trying to get his first win of the season. But he takes the white flag and car spinning. He goes down pit lane. So that will not end this race under yellow. We did take this final lap, and that almost turned into a Denny Hamlin moment before he touched the start-finish line. Could have brought the yellow flag out, but it is 1 lap to go, and it's a 0.7 of a second lead for Bradley Holly. And Thomas Sink and Danny Cervantes are just hoping that they can catch Charles Sumner before they get here to the start-finish line to maybe get on a podium.
That would have been crazy if that did bring out the caution. That was Mike Richter in the background there who lost it out of 3, brought it down pit road though, no caution. And that is exactly what Bradley Holly wanted to see. He wanted a white flag. He knows he has a huge gap over Abner Acosta. It's been 4 races without a win. That's not a lot, but for Bradley Holly it is. And through turn 3, round 5 of the season, Bradley Holly is victorious for the 64th time in the PRL Truck Series. He's finally got it done. Abner Acosta brings it home in second, and Sumner's out of fuel. He's coasting to the line. Can he hang on to the top 10 here? There goes Swenson by. I think it's going to be P10 for Charles Sumner. Well done, Charles. Bringing it across the line, Alexander Rossi style. No fuel in that truck, but just enough to hang on to the top 10.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I mean, granted, was it the most prettiest? Was it the prettiest thing? Nah, it wasn't the prettiest thing. But guess what? He got one. He got it. He got what he was looking for, and they can't take that top 10 away from him, no matter what.
He squeezed that gas tank for every last drop of Tropicana juice, but Bradley Holly up front, unbeatable. Acosta beat him to pole. He led the race for quite a bit of time, but eventually the strategies evened out, and Bradley Holly was the better of the two across the run, and it is the first win of the season for Bradley Holly. He's going to retake the championship lead. There was only 1 point between him and Abner Acosta after the last round, and it will be a little bit bigger to Bradley Holly's favor here as he donuts it around here. Probably not a lot of fuel left in that truck. He noses into the wall just a little bit, but celebration for Bradley Holly, and I'm sure we will be talking to him in a matter of moments here. Take a look at the finishing results of the race now that everybody has crossed the line. Looks like everybody has crossed the line as far as I know. Nobody else out of fuel like James Dewar was. Here we go. Bradley Holly your victor for the first time this season over Abner Acosta, who also ran the fastest lap. Look at that, 55.3 on lap 2. Then Thomas Sink and Danny Cervantes fought all the way to the end for 3rd and 4th. Sean Powell, alternate strategy, takes home another top 5. Jeff Evans and Jim Westerfield, 6th and 7th. And then Colton Lane and Christian Swenson, 8th and 9th. Charles Sumner, the star of the day, fuel saves all the way to the end and gets a top 10 for his efforts. 11th was Doyle Lawrence, and 12th, another under-the-radar performance, Eric Papineau with that alternate strategy. Then Harvey and Geyer, 13th and 14th. Schmidt, Zemke, Pennington, Hollingsworth, McGarvey, and Witt round out the top 20 for tonight. Trevor, Hunter, Hilton, Panzarella, Kalen, Knight, and Regan were the last cars on the lead lap. Dewar and Gilmore each ran into a little bit of trouble at the end. Mike Richter almost brought out the caution on the final lap there, or on the white flag lap, and the used car lot. We wrecked a few trucks tonight. Austin and Medina and the two Hunters, how tragically ironic is that? Nicholas and Austin both taken out in that early caution, 33rd and 34th. But looks like our winner's already waiting for us. Bradley Holly, the driver of the number 184. He's finally got it done this season. We'll talk to him in a matter of moments. And I'm pretty excited to talk to him. I'm sure he's very, very pumped for this victory. Let me drag him in here. Bradley Holly, you finally got it done. It's been 4 races. It was a winless season until now, but it's got to feel pretty good to get your first win at Pocono tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Strategy was definitely a factor tonight, and luckily tonight it actually worked out for us.
It was interesting. You and Abner were running 2 completely different strategies, and then it kind of evened out at the end there. What were you thinking on that initial lap 7 caution, and what happened that it just ended up evening out?
With the tire fall off, it fell off so darn quick that I knew if I didn't take advantage of it as quickly as possible that it probably wouldn't have worked out for me. So I felt like fresher tires were going to be better no matter what. But as the runs went, the tire gap would close significantly.
There was only 1 point between you and Abner coming into this race tonight, and you guys just finished 1 and 2. So that gap's not going to expand very much. You might be on the better side of it tonight, but we've got 5 more races this season. You and Abner, I imagine it's going to be a titanic duel for the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, let's hope so. And then our final race is Daytona, so that should be entertaining in itself. Abner's a great driver. I love racing against him, and I look forward to battling with him for the rest of the season.
And with this win tonight, this means that, Bradley Holly, you have won in every single season of PRL Truck Series competition. So that is one heck of an accomplishment. Congrats on your win tonight.
Thank you very much.
That was your winner. Bradley Holly finally gets it done this season, and the driver he beat, but the driver who won the last 2 races, Abner Acosta, will be talking to Terry.
Abner, what's up, man?
Hey guys, good evening. How are you guys doing?
Well, we've talked to you as a winner for the past 2 weeks, and now you're stuck talking to me. So you pitted a lap early, a lap earlier than Holly did, and you kind of kept getting stuck behind the same lap truck twice to get past for the race lead. Obviously, this is a PG show. So, I just want to know what was on your mind coming into the corner. One of the same corner where you got caught up behind him, and where I'm sure the radio might have been lighting up there.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, I created a gap at the beginning. I was super happy about that, and then we got the yellow, and I guess I should have pitted, but it's hard to say. I mean, the Waterback guys control like 8 cars on the field, so it's if they all pit, pretty much all follow. So I got stuck out with 8 lap old tires. So Bradley was able to make it back up, and yeah, I knew I needed a yellow pretty much to kind of battle him. So as soon as he got by me with the lap car, I didn't want to lose more time and kind of force him to pit as well. I think that was the best outcome for me. So I just pitted, he pitted, and then I'm just like a 1 lap disadvantage. So that was my only chance pretty much. That pit stop at the beginning kind of messed me up. And yeah, those 2 lap cars. So I didn't know it was the same guy. Now that you mention it, I guess it triggers me even more. But I mean, it's really nowhere where he could go. So it's not really his fault. It's just bad timing. But overall, happy with the. I did get a lot of points, so overall happy with the finish.
Hey, you came in as the points. You came in as the points leader by 1 point. Now, obviously, I believe this would tie you two. Then again, I'm a broadcaster, not a math guy. I do know because I looked it up, and I'm going to test your trivia here. We were talking Cheez-Its earlier in the race when the caution came out. Do you know how many flavors of Cheez-Its there are?
I have no clue, but if I had to guess with a gun on my head, I guess I would say 285.
There are 16 Cheez-It flavors in the world today. I know. And I was surprised to see what they ranked number one. I was really surprised. I was honestly more surprised. Caramel, popcorn, and cheddar won the Cheez-Its out of the 16 ranked. So I'm just as shocked as you, Abner, but congratulations on P2. And we'll see you next week at, I believe, IRP.
Thank you. I just Googled that cheese, so we'll see what happens. Thank you for that knowledge. I didn't know it was that far off. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
I'll see you guys next week, hopefully with a W. Thank you.
See you, brother. That was Abner Acosta, Joey, and you're standing by here momentarily with the driver of the number 48 machine, Thomas Sink.
Yes, I am. 285. That was an interesting guess, but Abner has 17 Truck Series wins. There's only 16 flavors of Cheez-Its. So Abner has more wins than Cheez-It flavors. But anyway, Thomas Sink is here. 10 Truck Series wins overall, but unfortunately, only third place, but still a top three. Bittersweet feelings, I'm sure, Thomas.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm sitting there with like 5 laps to go. I'm like, man, I made a bad choice. I should have come in earlier. I was, all those things are going through your head just to try to get that one more spot. So it kind of worked out for me there at the end.
How are you thinking when that first caution came out? A couple guys stayed out. You weren't one of them. You brought it down pit road. Did you think that was going to be the strategy that won you the race, or were you gunning for sort of a top three in general the whole time?
I'm kind of conservative. I'm just trying to get that top 5, top 10 air spot in the running, and I felt bad for Abner, and I think it was Knight. I think stayed out. I didn't see why that was a good call, and it worked out. They held us up long enough to where we hurt our tires, and then I don't know where Daniel finished, but Abner finished great.
Yeah, Abner and Brad, they're the two at the top of the sheets. They've been dominant so far this season, but you're still there in third place. A third place tonight, that's going to keep you in third place. Do you think you can break up that little 2-step up there with the upcoming 5 rounds?
I'm going to try. Every year I kind of come through and just kind of always that runner-up or a third place guy, which I'm happy with. It would be nice to be able to do better. I'm going to have to step on my game tremendously to get to that point. Those guys are very good. We'll see. We'll see what I can do.
Which track are you looking most forward to in the next couple of weeks?
Not Daytona, I'll tell you that. Daytona is not a good track for me. Maybe Richmond would be a fun one to run. I like short tracks, kind of like Iowa, and I always have a lot of success at Iowa.
All right, look out for Thomas Sink at Richmond in the next couple of weeks. Congrats once more on your third place tonight, Tom.
Thank you, guys.
That was the driver of the number 48, and I was personally asked by Terry Radford to let him talk to the man who squeezed the gas tank for every last bit of orange juice it had. Charles Sumner, the driver of the number 98, the fuel-saving master. He's here with us in the booth.
Charles Sumner, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
So, if you had to guess, and this is why I want to talk to you.
How many flavors of Cheez-Its are there?
Yes. But not only that, but you finished the same position as a certain style of Cheez-Its that ranked 10th on the all-time flavors of Cheez-Its. Take a guess, which position you finished along with the rankings.
All right, so that right there tells me there's at least 10 Cheez-It flavors. So
yes, there
is. 14?
You're close. It's 16.
Right.
What flavor of Cheez-Its do you think reminds you more of you?
Oh, Lord, I don't even know where to begin with this one.
It's a loaded question, my friend.
I was hoping it would be a loaded Cheez-It, like double crunch, double cheese.
Well, it's funny because you were very zesty tonight in your fuel saving, and
Yeah, I'll take it.
Zesty. And the number 10 flavor of Cheez-Its is the Zesty Cheddar Ranch. So you were very zesty in your fuel saving mode, and I was very proud of you because Joey made the Tropicana where you squeezed every bit of gas out of that orange there and did everything you could. You weaved that thing back and forth. Was that the strategy all along, and how in the heck did you do it?
So honestly, this all came from an accident. My fuel calculator was off. After that pit stop, I was like, hey, this says I'm a little bit already good to the end of the race. So I figured, all right, I'm going to be like between 10th and 12th. I'll get a lot of draft, a lot of lift and coast. Like, I'll be all right. And then everybody started pitting, and I'm like, all right, I'm still good. And then finally my fuel calculator started updating, and before I know it, I'm like, oh, I need a half a gallon. All right, let's go. Let's do this dance.
All right. Well, you did a dance coming to the line, and did you get down tonight? Since we're quoting, songs, you did a little dance, made a little love, getting down tonight. Anything?
Well, I already did the dance.
Okay.
We'll go with Mrs. Tropicana. We'll see if we can finish the rest of that off tonight. But no, it was a fun one because honestly, I've never clutched like that before. Like, I got more use out of my clutch tonight in the last 3 years that I've had these pedals. So yeah, that was even, I honestly, with this league, a top 10 I'm always ecstatic with. So to pull off a top 10 and do something crazy like that, hell yeah, I'll take it.
Well, I'm personally proud of you. We loved it. Charles Sumner, congratulations for being the fuel-saving master tonight and doing something that I didn't think was possible. Well, congratulations, and we'll see you at IRP next week.
Terry, my man, thank you so much. It was a blast tonight.
It's always awesome to talk to you.
Charles Sumner's fuel-saving abilities did, in fact, come in clutch there at the end. So,
Good one. Good one.
Terry, I think I inadvertently stole your question there. I didn't think you were actually going to ask him the Cheez-It flavor question, so I'm gonna cede the floor to you. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to finish this anecdote here. Your time is allotted.
Well, I mean, you think about the viewers out there. We'll come to Cam. Yeah, we'll come to Cam's here as I, think I'm hungry and I really want Cheez-Its. And I'm telling you, every single week I come here and we pull up and he pulls out some chips. Every time I come here and I watch him go on the thing and I see the Cheez-Its and I see the frosted flakes on the thing, it really gets me. It gets me every time because I think of how hungry I get during these races and I can't eat because it's unprofessional to sit here on this broadcast and eat because you don't want people listening to you smacking in the microphone and just being, that guy. I barely even drink water on it. So next week, I'm going to get at least four flavors of Cheez-Its. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try all 4 flavors of Cheez-Its. And then we'll come up with a new food for IRP because I think it's shaped like an ice cream cone or an ice cream bar. So maybe we'll eat some ice cream.
I could have sworn I had some Cheez-Its down here, but apparently I don't. But anyway, we will see you next week at Indianapolis, or formerly called Indianapolis Raceway Park, now called Lucas Oil Raceway at Indianapolis. It's going to be a good race. It's a short track. Should be exciting, as they always are here in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. But we leave Pocono tonight. It was an interesting race. It was an interesting run of strategy. But we will see you next week. We'll see you tomorrow night for more PRL action. The Precision Racing League F3 Series will be at the Red Bull Ring tomorrow. But until then, until next week when we're back with the trucks, we will wait patiently for you. We will count the flavors of Cheez-Its. Until then, so long.